Well,
There we
hello
go.
everybody. How you doing? I know you've been sitting around going, "Well, where is it? Where is it?" And to tell you the truth, I've been talking to Trey, and then I noticed, hey, the button I pushed it, but we didn't go live. But we're live now. We're live now. And let me mention some of the things I was going to mention before. One, if you are taking classes with me or private lessons with me, and you need another way of connecting on the internet for gigs and such, Connection Open will give you 20% off. And I have been in the situation where Source Connect, which is right now the industry standard, didn't work. Why? Because they had so much business. Sometimes you're going to need a backup, and Connection Open has worked very well as a backup. And now I've got a few clients that's what they want to use. It's clean as a whistle. You're going to like it. So, connectionopen.com. Let them know you're working with me. Well, you're going to have to actually do that before you get the 20% discount, but it is available to you. So, without further ado, let me introduce my guest. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Tre Mosley.
Hello again.
And how did I get you on the other side? I had you on the other side before, but that's all right. Um,
It's magic, man. It's magic. It's all good.
Trey, we met at VO Atlanta at the hotel by the airport,
Yep.
having breakfast. I don't remember if I just sat down with. I think you invited me to come sit at your table. You and your wife were having breakfast,
Yeah.
and it's funny sometimes. And you're going to get to this if you haven't already. Sometimes if people know who you are, they have this feel. Well, I'd like to talk to him, but I want to bother him. And you were just, hey, come on. You want to? Hey, Dave, how are you? And we talked. You played a demo and asked me what I thought. And I thought, well, I think you're going to have a career here. And I was right.
How about that?
Ta-da! Fantastic.
How about that?
So, how did you get started? That's one of the things. Everybody's got a story,
An origin
an
story.
origin story as superheroes of voiceover. All of us, we're the voiceover superheroes or supervillains.
I like being the bad guy. It's a
Yeah,
good thing.
some of the best parts to play. So,
That's true.
how'd you get going?
I got started about 10 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Um I guess it found me. I even, growing up, I made funny voices. I was the oh, you switched the screen. Look at that. It's
Oh,
so
there we go.
slick. I read poetry. I was in oratorical contests and stuff like that. So being a speaker wasn't new to me, even though I was a shy kid. Um, I would still get up and talk. I was just talking. But and I think I just thought it was something really cool. But how I got into voiceover, I was working in corporate America, and you get that proverbial, hey, you sound like you can do whatever, whatever. And I would be on the phone, and when I would talk, people, mistook me for the prompt. Thank you for calling Chase. May I please have your loan number? And I keep hearing touch tones in my ear, and I'm like, ma'am, hello. She's like, customer service. I'm like, this is customer service, ma'am. How may I help you? Oh, you're real. I'm like, just as real as you are. And, I enjoyed that. And the shift that I worked on, quality assurance was very lax. I would have all kind of different accents and characters, just having a ball with it. And then they laid us off. So now, but they gave me a damn good severance. So I was good.
Okay.
I basically lived off of severance and stock for about a year. And while sitting home crying in my beer, I watched a lot of cartoons, narration, documentaries, stuff like that, and just wondered, okay, I know that there are people that do this,
People are
but
getting
who are
paid to do this. Who are these
yeah.
people, and how do I
So
become one of them?
hell yeah. And I started pausing the credits, like, oh, like really? That's who that was? And then I would watch a cartoon like, wait, but he was just so. Oh, okay. And started looking people up and like, yeah, voiceover actor. I'm like, oh, so that's what it's called. Because growing up, I always thought you were just an announcer. Because especially in the 80s, that was the era of the big voice. Even like on the news, you're listening to W and so, that big booming voice. So I always thought I wanted to be an announcer of some sort. But when I found out what it actually was, um, I went online, started looking up all these different celebrities, VO folks, and really just I think I sat up one night, man. It was like 4 in the morning. And
Mm.
if you ever seen the Matrix, how Neo is just plugged in and they're just
Hmm.
feeding him all the info, I was Neo because I was just sitting, oh, that's him, and that's her. And I was locked in. And the bug bit me quickly.
Mm.
I took some of that severance money, went to Guitar Center, bought a mic,
What
bought
kind of
some
mic did you buy?
monitors. I bought a AKG Perception 220, which I still have. That's my
Okay.
baby, and she ain't going nowhere.
Nowhere.
And got all this equipment, and now I'm standing on top of my balcony, like I'm ready. Let's go. And didn't know how to find work. So I got all this equipment and don't know where to go. And uh, I found out about a pay to play site. It was Voice 123. I think it had just debuted.
Hmm.
So I hopped on there and made some fake demos. I took magazine articles and would read them, very eloquently. And the little lamb that's whatever it was. And I made a narration demo. I made a commercial demo and put those bad boys on there and got a little buzz. Only had one job that entire time I was on Voice 123 at that time. But it wasn't until the very first VO Atlanta conference. And I was like, what is this? There's a conference for voice actors. I got to be there. And went there. And I met Joan Baker and Rudy Gaskins. Nancy Wolfson was there, the guys at East West Audio Body Shop at the time.
Oh yeah.
And, really got immersed into the culture. And then I found out about That's Voiceover that happened later on that year and went out to LA. Got lost in LA. Had seriously, I got off at LAX and took the super shuttle to Union Station because the guy didn't know where my hotel was. I'm like, how do you work for super shuttle? Anyway,
Well,
a
that's
homeless guy actually told me where to go. And I caught two buses, and the dude was like, "You're not from here." I'm like, "Man, I'm just
back there.
trying."
It was a homeless
What?
guy that told you where to go.
A homeless guy told me if you catch the so and so's, I think it was like the 405 or the 405 bus,
Please tell
man,
me.
it'll drop you.
Please tell me you gave
What?
him a couple dollars.
I did. I squared him up because I went to Denny's. So Union Station, right across from Union Station, is a Denny's. And right across from Denny's is one of the LAPD offices. I'm like, okay, LAPD right there. I heard about y'all boys. Let me go over here to Denny's and just be real cool. But he told me what buses to catch. He said that second bus will put you right on Sunset. Just tell the guy you want to get off at the Grafton Hotel. And I was half a block away from where he told me.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
So, yeah, my VO journey was really a journey. But year after year, I started to coach. I started to really uh, go to voice actors' websites and listen to the things that they were doing. I didn't really know anything about representation at the time, so I just spent time looking at websites, and I would hear something on TV, pause it, and kind of say it like, "Okay, well, he said it like, tomorrow night, so and so and so." Then I go in my closet in my apartment, hop on the mic and repeat what he said. And, to me, because this is all new, like, you sound pretty good, boy. I like that. And,
let
you
me tell
know,
you what's interesting. One of the things I tell students is to pay attention to the voice actors you hear on radio and television. You're watching the television show
absolutely.
when the commercials come on. No, don't go make that sandwich. Turn it up. I used to do that too. Turn it up
Yeah.
and listen. And to me, it's very much like if you're a guitar player, saxophone player, musician of any kind.
Hmm.
When you hear your favorite musician play that solo or that chord change, you want to learn how to do that. And
Right.
ultimately, you're going to learn some things like phrasing, but you got to make it your own.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, and when I really decided that, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I want to do it right. Um, my very first coach, I talk for a living. My very first coach, and we're still good friends today. As a matter of fact, he hit me up the other day. Rodney Salisbury.
Oh,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
that's my
Jazz it
boy.
up with Zataran. That's my dude, man. That's my
Jazz it
man.
up with
100K.
Zatarans.
Yes, sir. And Rodney was my first coach, and he really, you know, broke things down for me. One of the things he always said was, "You gotta respect the copy." He has that cool. It could be a hurricane outside, and he would just be standing there like it ain't gonna move him. He's like, "Always respect the copy," and I didn't really understand what that meant, but he explained that from the creatives that put the commercial together to the copywriters that wrote the copy down to you. There's a hierarchy. There are steps, levels to this. So don't mess these people's words up. Really analyze the script, kind of understand and paint the picture in your head of what they're trying to envision, and give it to them. So I never forgot that. Always respect the copy. So Rodney, if you're watching, I was listening, man.
Well, I imagine Ronnie's busy doing some other things. He and I have been in the business about the same amount of time, and our voice prints, I think, are very different, but the world doesn't. And
Oh,
all the time, I haven't talked to him in a little bit, but we'd run into each other back when we were all going to studios, and we all have home studios. But
yeah.
sometimes I'd get a call from him, a text from him, an email from him. Oh, Dave, everybody thinks that's me on that spot you're doing. And the same thing would happen to me. The same
That's
thing would happen to
crazy.
me.
That's
And
crazy.
Rodney's been in the game a long time, and
Yes, sir.
he's been teaching a long time too. Good guy. Good guy.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I just he retired I think either this year or last year. He
yeah,
said he's just strictly coaching now. So
yeah, yeah. Tell me about your studio.
my studio is a it's part uh Toy Story and part voiceover. Have a lot of collectibles in here. Just they keep me company.
What
And
are
this
your collectibles? What are your
I'll show
favorite
you.
ones? Uh oh.
So where's the camera? There he is. I collect Funkos, a whole bunch
Oh.
of them. There's a whole bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
I probably have 3 or 4 that are different versions of Batman. That's my guy. So yeah,
So
but
basically, you're a nerd with a really cool voice.
talk about it exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Nerds are in now. That's
I
right.
I understand. I understand. So,
I have a 416 hooked up to my Apollo Twin. I use Adobe Audition, and I have my iMac here. My other mic is a U87, and I also have a TLM 103.
okay, wait. And you are already have gotten a question here. Let's
Okay.
see. Oh, Michael Woodley. Trey, on average, how often would you say you were auditioning on the P2P sites, and what part of Florida are you from?
Okay. I live in Jacksonville and have been here since 2001, but I'm from Miami. The P2P sites, when I was on them, uh, I would get a bunch of auditions, maybe 20 or 25 or so at a time. As a matter of fact, I had someone ask me this exact same question today, and my response to him was, "Don't audition for everything. If you got 20 auditions, find maybe 5 or 8 that really catch your eye and give you some good Skrilla, and knock those out.
By
If
the way,
you
for those who don't know, Skrilla is money.
I'm sorry. If you'd like to be compensated for the work that you do, that's yeah. If you're
That's right.
trying to get paid, bro, yeah,
This
the
reminds
Skrilla.
me of my years in private school where I learned to speak the language of the wealthy kids I was going to school with. And then
Ah,
once some
yes,
other
yes,
black
yes.
kids started going to the school, I'd get my wife, man, you guys are speaking a whole other language than we go, oh, yeah, sorry. And
That is
that
correct.
whole cold thing ain't over
Yeah, yeah, we still code switching to this day, but
to
we could
this
have a
day.
whole show on that. But no, to answer your question, Mike, um, for every 20 auditions, do like 5 or 8 and really look at, what it is that you're auditioning for. And if it's something that you really feel that, you know what, I can do this, then do it. What you don't want to do is do all of them and then you're not a good fit for all of them. I know Voice 123 will penalize you. At least they used to. I don't know what the algorithm is now. But if they sent you 20 and you auditioned for all 20, the next email that came out, they would like send you half
Yeah.
because they're like, okay,
Well, let me
you're
ask you.
not.
I used
Yeah.
to I used to monitor some of those sites, Voices
Mhm.
123, and uh, one of the things I would notice for people who are on them or trying to figure them out, uh, you got to be right on top of it when the auditions come out,
Yes.
because they're only going to take a certain number, and if you don't get right on it before you know it, even if you're perfect for it, you'll be too late.
It's
Um,
gone. Yeah.
it's gone. And the other thing is just what you're saying. Choose the things that really fit you, because even if you don't book it, the clients will rate you.
Yeah.
And if you're getting a higher rating that, yes, this was close, or you were down to the last two or three,
Mhm.
it means you'll get more auditions and more auditions like that. If you're and you've got to spend a little time on your auditions. You can't just, oh, there it is, do one take and go. So
Right.
what you were doing, and you should do that anyway. When my agents send me copy now to audition for, sometimes it's not something that I'm interested in. Uh, Sometimes it's, well, that's not enough money for what they're asking for. Sometimes it's just,
Right.
you know what, I can't play the 25-year-old guy now. So let a 25-year-old guy have that. Uh,
Right.
so make sure whenever you're auditioning in your wheelhouse. Yeah, we can stretch ourselves, but
Yeah.
don't get too far from what it is that you really do. Do go on. I'm
Agreed.
sorry to interrupt.
No, 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 no. That's good. I relinquish to you, sir. But no, yeah, you got to be really diligent in looking at the type of auditions that you're wanting to do because they will penalize you on that. Um, and like I said, it's been a minute since I've been on there, but still know people that use it, and I believe that algorithm is still in place. So if you're going to be on pay to play, especially if it's Voice 123, uh, be very choosy
Mm,
and with good reason.
yeah, absolutely. Let me talk about your website. I went to your website today, and it's a very good site, very simple, uh, not a lot of pizzazz. Um, Basically, you get there, and they're the demos.
Yeah.
And I played a couple of your demos, and went, yeah, well, that's good. That's good. I got to your video game demo, and I loved the
Uh
things you were
oh.
doing,
Uh
but
oh.
there was no production on it. There was no music. There were no sound effects. It was just you. Why?
Yes.
Why did you do it that way? And has it been working for you?
So, I'm trying to remember her name. DB Cooper.
Oh yeah.
DB has been a very good friend to me in regards to trying to help me navigate through this whole video game maze. And she sent me an article, and the article said that the majority of developers and folks that are really into the building process of video games, they don't want to mix. They just want to hear you. Can you act? Can you emote? Can you be angry? Can you get punched in the face and then take a breath and be nice and calm? If you can do all of that, cool. But you don't need the special effects and the music around that to enhance your performance. You should be able to enhance your performance because you can act. So when I created that demo, and I didn't name it video game demo, I didn't name it animation demo, I just named it character demo. And I did that specifically because if someone came to my site or went to my agent and they need a character and they refer to that demo, yeah, there's a character you may hear and say, he'd be great in a video game, but there may be a character you go, I got a role for him in an animation.
Yeah.
So I always kept it dry.
Oh, I'm gonna say with that. There's a buddy of mine, a director I work with a lot, Mark S. Dale, who's going to be a guest in a few weeks, as a matter of fact.
Oh, well, how about that?
And when I was teaching in London, we became friends. He has been in the video game business of 20, 25, 30 years, directing. Um, and he is a proponent of demos without production.
Hmm.
I still kind of disagree, although I think yours is good. I don't think most people are going to be able to pull it off as well as you did. Um,
Thank
but
you,
what
sir.
I do want to suggest to people is make sure your voice, you are the star of your video game demo. Too many people are putting on accents that they don't do well, a variety of voices that really aren't them. And at the end of the demo, the person listening comes away without an idea of who you are.
Who they are. Yeah.
We really have to kind of think of ourselves as character actors and think of your favorite character actors. You see them on the screen, they always give you the same feeling. There's something
Yeah.
about them that touches your soul, touches your mind in a certain way. And that's what we want to be. Your favorite actors or your favorite star actors, even, more often than not, are character actors who are just a little more handsome.
I'll go with that. Sure.
Oh, boy. So, I think we got a couple of comments here. Let's see. John Simmons, your story sounds similar to mine. When you were starting, what was the one piece of advice you could give to someone who is still new and in the coaching phase? He's coaching with me, as a matter of fact. Thanks in
Oh,
advance for your wisdom.
one piece of advice I could give someone that's in the coaching phase. Um, well, I'll tell you what I tell my students. I do a little coaching myself. Give your coach the best version of you and listen. You know, Oftentimes you have folks that are so gung ho and they're so ready to, oh, it's VO and I can't wait to be in it and do this, this, and this. That's great. But if your coach says, okay, that last read, give me a little bit more pace, give me a brighter smile, give me some energy. And if you still sound flat on the next read, and then you sound flatter on the next read, there's a disconnect. And if you're not paying attention, if you're not following directions, you know, they're preparing you for the next phase of this VO thing because when you get into a session, hell, when you do an audition and they have specs, and sometimes we do ignore the specs. Don't tell our agents we said that. But there are times where if they have certain specs and you don't follow those specs, even down to naming the file a certain way, if you don't already have it ingrained in the coaching process to do what people who are already doing this, what you're aspiring to do, if you don't do what they suggest or tell you to do, then nothing else is going to matter down the road because you simply won't be ready for it. So
You know
be the
what?
best you and listen.
Let's talk about specs a little bit because I think, and this sounds a little strange, but I think you need to pay attention and yet not pay attention. Uh, Give them what they are asking for or what it is they say they want, but trust your instincts.
Yes.
If you're going to give them that second take, and I suggest a second take most of the time, if you're going to give them that second take, make it you, make it special, make it unique to you. Because I can't tell you, and I'll see some hands raised with this. You got that audition, you read the specs, you gave them what they wanted, you loved the audition, you felt you had a really good chance of booking this. You heard nothing, and a few weeks later, you turn on the TV, and there's that spot with a voice that is diametrically opposed to
Different from
your
yours.
voice, and what they're doing is not
I'll raise my
anything.
hand
Yes,
now.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that was one of my rookie mistakes.
yeah, and the question, I saw somebody writing an article about this on Facebook the other day. Uh, a lot of times you look at it and you go, why'd they hire this person? Ooh, well, that sucks. Well, if they booked it,
Hmm.
somebody didn't think they sucked. And
Correct.
a better question for you is, well, why did they hire that guy? Not with disdain,
Hmm.
but with trying to get understanding on what was it about this person's read that touched these people.
Yeah.
And often that thing that you don't think is working, like maybe they're very relaxed, maybe there's no smile song, maybe it's just very straightforward, and they're giving you information and they're breaking it
Hmm.
up like this, and that's exactly what they wanted because they wanted everything to be very, very clear. uh,
Yes.
and understand that this person got hired, you didn't. There's something to learn there, and can't be all things to all people.
Absolutely not. You really
Uh,
can't.
so, well, tell me some of your biggest disappointments in this career. Things that you just knew this was for me, this is for me, and then didn't happen.
So my friends and my wife especially, they always get on me because I don't really celebrate the things that I book. I do, but I'm not like, hey, I just that. And the reason that is, a few years ago, I had an opportunity to audition for this piece, and it was going to be aired during the Super Bowl, and it was going to be for some major, not Skrilla, money, good money.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking a couple of commas and zeros. So I was excited. And, we went through the process. This is before we were as a matter of fact, we were in our apartment, not in the house yet. And I had to go to the local NPR station to record. And we were there for maybe about an hour or two, doing this 30-second spot, but they had different variations and cuts and, that kind of thing. And I leave feeling good, feeling great. And now I'm on the phone, you know, head this swollen. Like, yeah, man, guess we're gonna have a Super Bowl commercial in a couple of days. Listen for your boy, during halftime. And I'm just big up in myself. Uh Day before the Super Bowl, casting director calls me, and very nice young lady. She's like, hey Trey, how's it going? I'm like, hey, what's going on? So are we ready? Yeah, so we had a last second change at the end. I'm like, what? They changed the copy? Do I need to come back and do some retakes? No, it was recast.
Not all the parts, just yours.
Yeah. So I'm like, so now all of these people who I've told to look out for me, I'm like, what do I do? I go tell them, oh nah, man, it was politics, bro. Nah, I had to eat it. I had to eat it and just tell them they cast somebody else. And I just remember watching that game. And when it became halftime, I think I went up to go get a drink or go eat or something. I don't want to watch any commercials. And that's something everyone looks forward to. Super
Yeah.
Bowls, the commercials.
So, did your
I
phone
didn't I
start
didn't
ringing?
watch.
Well, wait, we saw the spot. Where were you?
Yeah, they was like, where's your commercial? I'm like, oh no, I don't know what happened, man. Maybe it's gonna be on in the fourth quarter. You know? Yeah, it might be late. They had so much stuff and Janet Jackson was dancing and all that. Yeah, it's coming later
And
on,
then the
man.
boob popped out, and everything was.
Yeah. Yeah,
Let
they
me
threw
let me tell you my story.
uh-oh.
I had just gotten to LA just a few weeks, months before. This was one of the first jobs I ever got, and we were recording. I think it was Margarita Mix, which is a beautiful studio in town. And this was one of the most expensive. The best food, the best drinks, everything is
Wow.
there. A designer did this place. It was gorgeous. I
Okay.
had the session over there, and it was for Disney's Big Red Boat, which was their cruise ship.
Yes.
And I had auditioned, went in. They were telling, "Oh, we love your voice, we love your read, we love this." Oh, goodness! And we get in the studio, and everybody's, I mean, they're clapping. Oh man, the Big
Oh
Red
wow.
Boat, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, "So when's it gonna be on?" And they say, "Oh, it's gonna be on such and such a time on such and such a show." And I did just what you did. Friends, family. Hey, I'm going to be on this commercial. It's going to be airing at such and such and such a time. Well, they didn't have the decency to call me and let me know. I just turned on the television on that show and it came on and it was somebody else's voice and I was just devastated. But it was a good lesson to have when I had it,
Yeah.
because that's not rare. It happens,
Hmm.
and you can't take it personally. It's not about you. Somebody wanted to go in a different direction. It
Now, let me ask you this in regards to that spot. At least when I was recast, I didn't know who the person, who they were. Did you know who the person was that did
no,
the spot?
no, no,
Oh,
no.
okay.
And
That would
I've
that would
I've I've been on the other side of that a number of times too, where especially in video games, where they've cast somebody and the role that I'm best known for, Lee Everett
Mhm.
in the Walking Dead game, somebody had it first, somebody else. They
Oh,
did the
wow.
whole first episode and then
Man.
decided he wasn't right. And somebody at Telltale Games had heard me on another one of their games and said, "Hey, let's try this guy, Dave Fennoy." They sent me an audition. I did it. Week later, they told me, "Oh, you got the part. We're going to start recording in a couple of weeks." And it's the
Wow.
kind of gig in terms of the video game industry kind of changed my life.
Yeah, that's career
I was
changing. Yeah.
I was already doing a lot of video games, but I was that character actor that you knew the voice but you didn't know the name. Well, after
Yeah.
that, game of the year. I was nominated best performance, blah blah blah, and then it was, oh, it's Dave Fennoy.
Mm.
And so those kinds of things can help you or hurt you. Well, hurt your feelings, but even when you don't get it, it's a lesson of one kind or another. Oh,
Yeah.
let's see here. Somebody wants to sing your praises. Trey was a narrator of my documentary film
Right.
and did an
That's my
amazing
guy.
job. Yeah. Anastasio?
Yeah,
Uh,
Rocky Anastasio.
yeah, it did an amazing job. People always mention at how commanding his voice was introducing the different segments of my film.
Oh,
Well,
that's what's up.
that
Appreciate you, man.
yeah. Let's see. Um, Jimmy Moncole. Um, are those HD 28 Pro headphones? I just got a pair today. Do they work
Is he
really well?
talking to me or you?
You know, I'm the kind of guy with
I
headphones.
have to look because I have so many
Yeah,
cans.
I don't know what I've got on here. Let's see.
Good
Uh,
eye, sir. Yes,
I
they are.
no. So
Yeah.
clearly he was talking to you because I'm wearing
Yeah,
a
he's
pair of
talking to me.
Yamahas.
Yeah.
And my favorite headphones, by the way, were I bought 5 pairs of headphones for $99. I think at Guitar Center or something years ago, and those are still my favorite headphones. Although they're all worn out now. You know, when you buy too many, other people want them. Oh yeah, can I borrow
Yeah.
your headphones? And you never see them again. Let's see. Michael Sessoms. Trey's character demo rocks. Great variety and wonderful voice. I don't think
Thanks,
everybody
Mike.
could. I don't think everybody could pull off what you did with that. And I'm just going to say, I'm sure you saved a lot of money. You produced that
Indeed.
yourself.
I did.
Oh, so you are a rule breaker, but you made it work even though you broke the rules.
I am a habitual line stepper and proud of it.
Yeah.
Always has been.
Uh,
But
but
I know when to do it though.
yeah, yeah. Believe me, I have listened to so many demos that people have sent me that they didn't have the background or the ear of production that
Hmm.
you have. Um, your voice was commanding. It was present the whole time. Um, there was just enough compression, just enough EQ, just enough of all of that. More often than not, when I get a demo from somebody who has produced it themselves, it's either muddy or it's too trebly,
Hmm.
or they did try to use music and effects, and the voice is lost in the music and effects. So I'm not going to recommend that you do what Trey did.
Please
Uh,
don't try this at home.
yeah, please don't try this at home. You might hurt yourself. Let's see. Natalia Bykov. I did a commercial that was to air during the season finale of a show a few years ago on ABC. I watched the whole episode and never saw the commercial. My agent said there was an airing mistake, but I was paid
Oh,
anyway.
wow.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
there's
Well,
always a silver lining. Yeah.
that money always does it. So now I have noticed over the years, you have gotten very involved in social media. You
Yes.
had me on. Was that last week? I can't keep track of time.
Clubhouse. Yeah.
On
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse, the new thing, and we spoke for. We ended up speaking for about 2-3 hours. It
Yeah,
was at
we was
least
there for a
2 hours.
minute.
Yeah,
At least two. Yeah.
I was answering a lot of questions, and it was a really good time. Um, how do you use social media to further your career?
Um, I noticed, at least for me, the more I guess the word is, the more real I am, the more normal I seem to people, that tends to help. So, I'm a like I said, I have collectibles. I just started an old hobby, which is now a new hobby, building radio controlled cars and stuff like that. And I'll, talk about, hey, gonna apply some paint to this, and come back tomorrow and see how it looks and stuff like that. Um, Sprinkle that in with, if I did a promo, or here's a commercial I did and stuff like that. I try to show them the more personal, natural, just normal me side, as well as, oh, and by the way, I also voice this thing, and that tends to work. I know some folks that are very heavy when it comes to promotion of the work that they do, but you don't really see them outside of the booth. I think I like to say I have a pretty good work life balance. Um, so I try to show both sides of that, and it's been very helpful.
Well, let me say this. I think sometimes whether you're showing all the sides of you or not, in this business, it's a good idea to have other sides of you. There's something about if voiceover is all you've got, everything is focused here on that microphone, and how do I make
Hmm.
these words do what they do? Um, you're missing out on some things in life that humanize you, that
Yes.
actually bring the personality, actually bring the connection to other people that you bring to the
Yeah.
microphone. So you got to have a life outside of this.
Absolutely. There are some days, um, I may have 10, 15 auditions in queue. Now, if they say ASAP, and these are the ones from my agents, I try to knock them out as quick as I can. If I don't have any sessions that day, I'm like, you know what, this is going to be a me day. So I go and grab me something to eat. I'm watching either Netflix or Hulu, or I might be on Xbox, playing with my friends or whatever. And I just take a day away from it. I'll walk past the room like, nope, not gonna go in there, and just have a me day, because you have to, because we're isolated as much as we
Yeah,
are. You
yeah.
need that time to decompress. I love what I do. If ABC called me right now, I'd be like, 1
Bye.
second, Dave. Yeah, but you know, work is work, but life is life also, and life happens. And if life is not happening for you, you need to make it happen, because I think, and it's with any job, you have to have that time to
Yeah.
yourself to just be you, man. So
Life
when it
is not
comes,
work.
no
Work is
sir,
not life. Yeah.
no sir,
Let's see. I had a question here. Oh, Victor Singleton.
Vic,
Trey,
that's
what's the
my
most?
cigar buddy.
Oh, okay. What's the most? I see another thing. That's you. What's the most challenging audition you've had, and how did you overcome the challenge?
I had to think about that one. The most challenging audition. Huh.
And we've stumped Trey Mosley, ladies and
I'm
gentlemen.
telling you.
Ding,
Uh,
ding, ding,
oh,
ding.
I'll tell you what it was. This was last year, and it was challenging because I was emotional when I got it. Um, my daughter had called me, and she was in tears. And this was right after George Floyd was killed.
Uh,
Yeah. So Almost took me out right there. So she called and I'm like, "What's wrong?" And I'm hearing the tears, so I'm like, "Do I need to put on some shoes and get in the car and see what's going down?" She's like, "No, no, no, I'm fine. I don't understand why they hate y'all so much." And she meant, black men. And we probably sat and talked for about an hour. And it was mainly her. I was just letting her get stuff off of her chest. And, I would respond in kind. And right after that, I got a call from a producer at ABC, and they were putting together this segment called Turning Point. And they said, take a look at the script and give us a few takes and send it back. And I remember looking at it, and I could just feel uh, the power in the copy. You know, it was saying stuff like right now at this moment, and I'm like, yes, right now at this moment, we are pissed off, we are angry, we are hurt, and I had to sit there
Frustrated.
for yeah, and I had to sit there for a few minutes because every time I read it, I sounded angry, and I knew they wanted intensity, they wanted urgency, but I don't think they wanted anger. And I and I had to go, we can't give them angry black man. We just we can't do that. I know what they want, but we can't give them angry black man because angry black man was in full effect that day. And I turned my chair around and I just kind of closed my eyes. I was like, all right, we can do this. And this was at the point where um I had just started my relationship with ABC, so I'm trying to stay in their good graces. And then I just turned the chair back around and hit record. And I was like, right now, at this moment. And I could just feel myself like, this is what they want. And I gave them 3 takes of that and it aired, like a week or so later
Yeah.
to debut the show. So yeah, it was
I heard that spot. I didn't know it was you, and I remember thinking, "Wow, I'm liking this. This dude has got this." I didn't realize it was you.
yeah, and it went so thank you, bro. It went so well with them. Um I remember getting an email from one of the suits at ABC News, and he was like, we didn't expect it to go as well as it did, but we're really glad to have you on board. And I think that was the here comes the pun turning point for me that I started to get a lot of work with ABC. And it wasn't just always the more serious things. I mean, they booked me for that too, but I've done some spots for Good Morning America. Just had one air last week. I think it aired Monday. It was a Good Morning America spot. So they kind of mix it in. They'll give me some lighthearted stuff, but they still give
Well,
me more
you know, you
ABC News type stuff.
you in my old stomping grounds on ABC. I
I
used to
know,
do a
man.
lot of stuff for ABC.
Oh,
Anyway,
stop that.
oh, Marion Toro, hi, big bro,
Marion.
VO.
My
What
little
would you
sister.
consider an obstacle in the VO industry for a seasoned voice actor? If anything, how do you get through it?
An obstacle. Uh, I'll tell you this, and I say it often. Your best ability is availability. And sometimes people want to go to that next level in voiceover, but if you're not prepared to do so, then what do you do? They say they want to, get into promo, they want to get into animation. Who you coaching with? Well, I haven't really found a coach yet. There's your first obstacle. Getting past that I'm gonna and turn into I am or this is. So if you're not preparing yourself they say if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And that's true. Even in voiceover. If auditions come and it says ASAP and you're like, well, I'll do it in the next 15 minutes. If you have those 5 minutes where you can do it right then get your ass on the mic and do it right then because you never know. That ASAP could really mean ASAP because sometimes we see auditions. Okay, it says ASAP, but do they really mean ASAP? They really could mean ASAP, ASAP, and you could book something that day. I've had that happen where I saw an ASAP and I was gonna ignore it, And I said, nope, do it this time. And when I read for it, they hit me in 20 minutes like, hey, can you get on? So always be prepared. I think that's the biggest obstacle is that sometimes we are so close to the picture that we can't see the frame of things. And
And the truth of the matter is, especially now, they know you are at home. They know you are in your
mhm,
studio, and
mhm,
things are changing fast. When I was doing a lot of network promos, um, and going to the networks, uh, you might be going any time of day or night. You might
yeah,
have a session at 11 p.m., midnight, and going in because this has got to be done in the morning. Well, when we got ISDN and we're working from home, oh my goodness, thank goodness, because now I could just have to go downstairs or down the hall.
mhm,
But you get auditions now, or give me a scratch on this that,
yeah,
especially if it's a news thing. I'll get some of those from a CNN and some other stations, some stations that we want it now because this just happened and we want to jump on this right now. So,
breaking news, yeah,
and it's a reason we call them golden handcuffs,
indeed.
because when you are that voice for that network, that cable station, and they need you now, you can't be out at lunch.
Go too far.
You
Uh,
can't be with your kids at the park.
Let me share a story about that. The good old golden handcuffs situation. My wife and my daughter and I, we were actually this particular day, and I guess it was just meant to be. We took separate cars, and I don't really know why we. I think she had to go pick her up, and we went to our favorite or one of our favorite brunch spots, and we had just ordered, and I hadn't even put my fork in the eggs, and ABC was like, "Hey, how soon can you get back home and record?" I'm like, "Are you serious?" Luckily, where where we stay and where the restaurant is, they said, "Can you get home in 30?" I got home in like 12. And and this is pre-COVID. So I was doing the session through Source Connect. And I'm like, "All right, I'm here." But the thing about it, the session was like 5 minutes. We
Oh
did
yeah,
3
oh yeah,
spots and 3
oh yeah,
3 spots and 2 tags. And I'm like,
yeah.
"Hey, yeah, but that's promo."
Yeah, and I'm going to tell, and I tell people all the time, that a promo is probably the most lucrative thing you can do in
Oh
voiceover.
yeah.
When you are under contract to a network, a cable station, especially if it's union,
Mhm.
and it's only 225 plus 10, but that show needs a 30, a 20, a 15, a 10, and
1 of
tags,
10. Yeah.
and they got shows every night. It's it's not hard to make $500 million a year when you have one of those positions. And I'm so happy to say I've been in that position, and I wouldn't mind being back in that position. I'll take the golden handcuffs.
I I always keep a key with mine, so they locked me down for a minute, but I know how to escape. But they they keep calling me back, so I keep going.
And you keep going. Now, let me ask you this:
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
being black in the voiceover business. When
Mm,
I started, I wouldn't put my picture on anything. Um,
me too.
I didn't want to necessarily let the white person that was going to hire me judge me
Right.
by my
What they
skin,
saw.
judge
Gotcha.
me by my read. And if my read works, great, because I wanted to be able to work general market as well as black market. Um, what have been your experiences?
Same thing. When I first got started, I would never put my picture up. I would even go so far as to when I would do auditions, I would always give them a very relaxed read where they don't hear too much gravitas in my voice. And I give them 2 takes of that first, "Tonight, it's gonna be an extravaganza," and then that 3rd one, "Tonight." And they're like, "What the hell?" But
Who
I
was
did
that
that
other
because
guy
I
you had in the booth?
yeah, I thought I needed to do that to get an edge, get an advantage, and I would never show my face. And luckily for me, because I'm not in a coast to coast state, I'm not in New York, I'm not in LA, I'm not in Chicago, I'm in, population 900,000 Jacksonville, Florida. No one's going to take me serious anyway. But then when they hear the performance, it's like, oh, this dude is pretty good. And when I would remote into the session and they would, hey, is this Trey? And I'm like, hey, how you doing, this Trey? Is it? I'm like, it is. Well, your audition, you sounded so different. That's what acting is. And I really would throw people off. It wasn't until I got into a position where I felt I was truly a professional that I started to not really. I'm not going to say I didn't care, but I wanted people to see that, yeah, that guy that did that thing for you, he is I am him. And also, I wanted to not be ashamed or have people think that I felt ashamed of who I was. Who I am is very important to me in regards to not just being a black man, but in my work. And I think, especially now that folks are starting to be more socially conscious, um, with just the craziness that's going on in America and everywhere else, I think it's actually very helpful for people of color to show who they are, because there are certain realms of business where they want us, and voiceover is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Um, they want that
There's a
whatever
certain,
we have.
odd as
Yeah.
this sounds, there's a certain normalizing of who we are in America. That,
Mhm.
oh, yes, you can be spokesvoice, you can be president,
Yes.
you can be all these things, and I think it's a two-way street. Part of it is because we've seen it. I'm not sure if uh, Morgan Freeman hadn't been president. What's his name escaping me now? On 24 hadn't been president
Oh,
on
Dennis Haysbert. Yeah.
Dennis Haysbert. Um, hadn't been president on a television show, Barack Obama might not have been president.
Correct.
And there's so much of the normalization of a variety of voice, not just us.
Mhm.
One of the things I speak about with my students is the American voice is not just one thing anymore. The American
Correct.
voice is black, it's white, it's Latin, it's Asian, uh, whatever ism, whatever thing you can think of, it's it.
Mhm. Yes.
Um, we're getting close to time, but I had a couple more questions. I think somebody else had some questions.
What you got?
Oh,
What you got?
Gary Scales, what are VO
G
script character?
Money. What's up?
What are VO scripts or characters that you would stay away from?
Hmm. Something that I felt I couldn't do, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, if I see something and I'm looking at the specs and I'm just like, yeah, I can't do this, dude. I just leave it alone. But I think also what Gary is asking, because this kind of, and if I'm wrong, G, correct me. But I know that we have folks out there that are portraying themselves as people of color. You dig? So it's like,
We all
okay, if
know who
they're out,
she is,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and a few
Now,
others.
but the thing is, there are some people that are truly allies, and what I mean by that, they may read for a part, but that dude is not trying to sound black. Matter of fact, one of my good friends, Larry Davis. Larry is a white dude from Houston, but when he gets, down here, he has a soul about him. But I think part of that is because he grew up in Houston and he grew up around, black folks. You know what I'm saying?
He's in the
It's
culture.
Yeah, he's in the culture. He's not trying to appropriate it or
I got
misappropriate it. You know
another
what I'm
buddy
saying?
like that, Adam Harrington. Speaking of Larry Davis,
My man.
do you ever play Madden? Just from
he
out of the
being
blue.
he's being funny. So
Yeah.
Larry and I share a common bond because we both have actually had our voices in the game. He was the like the halftime announcer for the previous two Maddens, and just being a good guy that he is, he sent me a copy and he signed it. Um, in 2020, I auditioned for a new mode in Madden called Superstar KO, and I booked it, and they signed me for Madden 20, 21, and then they just extended it for 22. So that's why he threw that question at it. Stop playing. But yeah, that's why he did that. That's my man, Big L. Love you, bro.
Let me bring up Portia Q. Thank you
Hey
both for
now,
being men of integrity and repping the voiceover industry to the highest and fullest. Well, thank you, Portia.
got to do
Appreciate
it.
that. Got to do what you got to do.
Yes, sir.
Getting in a few people here. Al Winters, the voice is always evolving. Trey, stay focused and always stay ahead of the curve. There you go.
Thank you, sir. We'll do. We'll do.
Oh, Trakina, how you doing?
Keena.
In what ways has your VO career changed since Black Lives Matter?
People are taking notice of us more. I think even at the commercials that you see and on camera folks as well, there's a lot of representation that is being finally put at center stage. You know, I've gotten things where, as a matter of fact, I'm doing some promos now for the Smithsonian Channel, and it's for their they have a bunch of programs coming up for Black History Month, and I just noticed that there are a lot of networks now that things are. I'm not going to say it's Afrocentric, so to speak, but they recognize us now, and I think whereas parts or roles or promos and things like that that maybe we did not have the opportunities to do, they're now leveling that
Some
playing
doors
field.
are opening.
Yeah,
Um,
some doors are opening either by us turning the knob or putting the foot straight in it, but we
I,
getting in there.
I remember when I started in the promo world here in the '90 and early '90s. It was me and Rodney,
Yeah.
and that has changed. That has changed. A lot of brothers are coming on. Let's
Oh
see,
yeah.
Jim Tasker. Great
Oh, the great
voice.
Jim Tasker.
Two great and talented men, great voices, great hearts. Keep on keeping on. Well, thank you, Jim.
Thank you,
And
sir. Thank
for
you.
those of you who don't know, Jim is one of the best in the business. So
Oh yeah.
appreciate the comment. And Jim stops by from time to time. And by the way, Jim Tasker, I want to get you on. So expect that
Uh-oh.
expect that text, that email, that call.
The gauntlet has been thrown,
The
sir.
gauntlet has been thrown. Just ripping through a few here. Isabella Tugman, representation matters. It's great to see progress. That it
Indeed.
is. Um, and we're kind of at a crossroads now, I think, in the country. It's interesting to me, and I know this is off topic from voiceover, but it's interesting to me that after the first black president, we get the president whose support is racist, Nazis.
Yeah.
It's almost reminds me of so many times in history where black people are doing well, and because that doesn't fit what their image is of us,
Yes.
that must be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
So that whoever those racists are, and believe me, white folks who are listening, I'm not talking about you. This is a small segment that sometimes just has too big a voice.
Indeed.
Indeed, and it can just take too many of the wrong people in the wrong place at the wrong time with ill intent to destroy a lot. We've heard a lot of news about, I forget what city it was, where decades and decades ago, there was an election in a city in the South, and it was a mixed mayor, council, so forth,
Yeah. Yeah. I
and the
need something.
racists stormed the place, killed people, took over, drove those people
Mm-hmm.
out, and we have to be careful of that because that's
Yes.
exactly what we saw at the Capitol, and we're seeing the people who represent those people uh,
Mm-hmm.
not taking it seriously. Not taking it serious, but I'll get off of that. Yeah. Dean Way, Dave, I look forward to every Wednesday night and these shows. Thank you so much. And Trey, thank you for coming on and for sharing your talent with us. Awesome job, both of you.
My
And
pleasure.
Damon,
Amen.
not Afrocentric, but Afro aware, not the change
There
we
you
should
go.
be, but it's a pleasant change. Yeah, we got a long way to go,
Absolutely.
but we're moving.
Yeah,
Dan O'Leary, Trey just went to your site. Great stuff, inspiring. Thanks for sharing your insight.
you got it.
Tim Bamba, excellent session. Thank you. And Jimmy, do you coach Trey?
I do.
There you go.
Um, Promo, commercial, and narration. I do not do animation of video games because I'm kind of new to that myself. But I know a guy that that could help you with that. So
Uh,
I'm just saying.
all right. And Christina Tattersall, this has been amazing. Thank you. Well, thank you. And we're a few minutes after 7. We started 3 minutes late because for
Yeah.
whatever reason, didn't seem like we were
Oh,
getting going.
can I
So how go? Yeah, go ahead.
so speaking of representation matters, I am creating or in the process of producing my own animated series, which I am very, very excited about. Um, it's this guy who, if you put Shaft, uh, what's the guy's name from the Avengers that Sam Jackson plays, and I should know this because Nick Fury
I've played Nick
and
Fury.
I we know, and put them in a pot. My character, whose name is Jack Ross, he is what you would get. He is very no nonsense. He is always mission focused, and he has this team of folks that they call the specialists, and their job is to, they're like the last line of defense in this whole world. What I like about it is, oftentimes you see movies that are out, and they always call Liam Neeson, who's like 83, to come and save the world. I'm like, really? But in this world,
The Expendables.
yeah, come on now. But in this world I've created, how cool is it that for all the stuff that's going on, that your government can't take care of it, this government can't take care of it, the last line of defense is this tall, bald head black man that's gonna come in there and kick ass and do what he does. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I really enjoyed putting it together. We're putting the pilot episode together. Um, if you would like to contribute, because we have a GoFundMe,
Mm-hmm.
please help us out. Go to www.iamthespecialist.com. Take a look at it. You'll see there's a video in there of the cast being interviewed, and there's like a 2-minute motion comic that we created just to get some buzz about the show. But the actual pilot is going to be maybe about 17, 18 minutes long,
Mm-hmm.
and we're getting that done now. But it ain't cheap, y'all.
No.
Animation ain't cheap.
Now, say
I'm here
what?
to tell you, it
I
ain't
got
cheap.
one question about that.
Yes, sir.
How come I didn't get a part?
So about that, Dave, without see, if I tell you, then they gonna know, and then I got a part for you. I really do.
Because
And
I've
there
been looking at
it,
this thing for. So why he ain't called me? Trey ain't called me.
I
Damn.
no, I got a part for you. If you got time after the show, I will tell you what's going on. But I have a part for you. I originally wanted you to play the part of his brother
Mm-hmm.
because when people saw him with the gray locks, they was like, "It looks just like Dave Fennoy." I'm like, "Yeah, but that ain't what I want Dave for. I want him is
For
something
something
better.
else, yeah. Yeah, well.
It's something much better."
Oh, cool.
So depending on if this pilot, pans out,
Yeah.
we have some other episodes down the road, but I already have your character. He is in the cooler chilling, and when it's time, we gonna pull him out and let you do what you do, man. I got you. How am I let my friend and mentor just sit in the cut like he can call me? I wouldn't do that to you, man.
Well,
Not at all, sir.
I've seen it on Facebook. I love the look of the character and the artwork, and yeah, I'd be happy to be in it. One
Oh, that's
last thing. One last thing
yes, sir.
I want to bring up. You are creating a successful voiceover career in Florida, not the biggest city in Florida.
Whoop.
Uh, and we get the question all the time: do I need to live in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles to have a career? Do I need to be in San Francisco or Dallas or Houston to have a career, or Atlanta to have a career? And you are creating a very successful and growing voiceover career right where you are. I think a lot of it has to do with the world we're in now. Your thoughts?
Um, I got to a point to where I knew, especially when I first started in this business, I had no intention, at least for at that time, of going to New York or Los Angeles. But I knew that if I just stayed focused, stay prepared, and really put my talents on display, you know, I was gonna make it really hard for you to ignore me. And luckily that has parlayed into a pretty good career right now. And yeah, I'm in little old Jacksonville, Florida. Folks like, hey, you were on CNN. Yes, I was. Was that you on ABC? Yes, I was. Well, how are you getting all that work in Jacksonville? Because I
Because it
stay
does,
prepared.
and it doesn't matter where you are now.
No, sir, not at all.
Uh, the
Do
world,
the work,
do
and
the
the work
work,
will find
and the work will find you. All right, my friend, I'm going to let you go so I can go get my dinner and you can get yours and everybody can get their dinner. How can people get in touch with you?
you. You can reach me right here on Facebook. It's Tremaine Kendrick Mosley. That's the government. Instagram, it is Tre Mosley VO. Also, that's the same thing on Twitter as well. And go to the website, which is tremosley.com. Shoot me an email. Don't send me no spam, y'all, because you know, don't do that. Don't do that. Be nice. But yeah, hit me up. Anybody got any questions about coaching and things like that, or just want to chat? Holla at your boy, man.
No?
Let's chop it up.
Okay. Hang on. Don't hang up. And let me say thank you again, Tre Mosley. Great guest. You never know what's going to happen when you bring somebody on. I knew Tre was a great guy. What a great conversation. And if you're just tuning in or you couldn't catch all of it, all these live on YouTube at Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training. That's my YouTube channel. If you're interested in training with me, visit davefennoy.com and you can click on the Study VO tab and book yourself a session or some sessions and sign up and you'll get information. You'll be reminded about every Wednesday and when I'm doing workshops hither and yon. Once again, thank you, Tre Mosley. Goodbye, everybody, and I'll see you next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific on Ask Dave Fennoy Anything.